We call it Climate as a Service. It's a subscription-based model for HVAC climate control. So we will buy, own, operate the equipment, repair it, replace it all on our dime, all in exchange for a long-term agreement and a monthly fee. They love it so far. We're really tackling two what I would call the biggest issues in the industry, at least on the cultivation side. One being capital, at least capital that aligns with our clients' goals and their business model. But also climate control, and not just equipment, but the operations of. We around 2022, one of the reasons we made this switch was just to a client, every person we talked to was struggling to operate their system. Their systems weren't keeping up. We already knew there was a lot of poor decision making on the HVAC side of things, so we were expecting it to get there. Yeah. But literally these people had nobody to call. Nobody was helping them out. Yeah. So again, that was part of the impetus for moving into Climate as a Service.
Does it overall help with preventative maintenance and in uptime?
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're monitoring it 24/7 remotely. We built in some machine learning into our controls platform, does automated service calls based on a kind of tiered warning system. So uptime definitely, and because uptime, you're not having units down where the climate gets out of whack and all of a sudden product suffers. But then on top of that, we're giving these growers like half of their time back because they usually spend this looking at a piece of equipment that they don't really know much about. If you've survived through Colorado since 2015 all the way till now, you're pretty well battle tested. And I could probably go into your place and find things with your HVAC system that will get you over that hump into profitability. But what they don't have is a big pile of cash to sit here and spend to replace their equipment. Existing operators who have felt that pain, felt that sting from their original decision making on the HVAC side of things. And then what we found, like in Missouri, is we're having success with clients who may have installed new equipment 2 years ago when the REC program turned on. But now they're feeling that sting, and you have 2-year-old equipment. You don't want to replace it. You especially don't want to go raise more capital, not much capital in the space anyway. So we're finding a lot with the existing growers, with the growers that are feeling a lot of the pain. And then there's also, I would say, the expansion side of things. Not all those growers have felt the pain yet, so it becomes more of a capital solution for them. But the full holistic solution is really designed for the existing growers who are kind of hovering around profitability. And I would say 99% of them have problems with their HVAC system that's keeping them from getting there.
What are some of the problems that you're seeing in HVAC systems?
It wasn't designed right from the beginning. Most companies are using systems that are for comfort cooling applications. Those don't have variable capacity. They don't have a control system that gives you the flexibility that you need. And most importantly, while it may be 10 tons, it's 10 tons designed for a much drier climate, which means the coil's about that thick. Yeah. And if you get a 10-ton unit designed properly for a cannabis facility, coil's going to be about that thick. Yeah. That's where you get your dehumidification. So if you don't have that knowledge that not all tons are created equal, you're going to run into that situation. I would add to that the lack of understanding, I think, from the grower's perspective of how important that temperature set point is. Yeah. If the unit was rated and designed for 80 degrees and 60% relative humidity, and let's say it's giving you 20 tons at that, now you want to go to 75 and 50. Well, you probably just dropped it to about 12 tons. Yeah. And if you didn't know that, your unit's just going to keep running until it runs up against the safety and you'll eventually have a failure. So one of the key features of the Climate as a Service is the fact that we guarantee the set points. We put that in writing. We have a cushion plus minus whatever it may be. And per that agreement, if we fall outside of that bandwidth of those set points, for every hour we're outside of that, we owe you what's called a service level credit. We owe you money per hour on your next month's bill. So we have skin in the game to the point where we have an incentive to keep that thing operating properly, to keep that climate exactly what you're looking for. So for example, if a unit completely dies, we still owe you the climate. So it's up to us to go get on our dime temporary cooling while we get that unit back up and running.
So what is the worst climate horror story that you've walked into in this industry?
Oh man. I can't say I necessarily walked into it, but we've had numerous stories of companies replacing 20 plus compressors in a year. I mean, you shouldn't even have to replace one compressor in a year. Yeah. If you're replacing 20, I mean, you're spending at least $5,000 on each one of those things. Yeah. That's a pretty big horror story in my opinion. We've been hearing about machine learning, the Internet of Things for a long time. It's finally here, right? Yeah. We're finally seeing it. So, for example, in our controls platform, like I said, we do automated service calls. So if it's a level 1 warning, it goes straight to our technician. He usually could take an emergency and make it a non-emergency remotely. If it's level 2, he's got an idea in his mind that we may need to call a service truck. If it's level 3, we're not even waiting. It automatically, we're going to have an AI signal that sends it automatically to get our local service provider there, to get a truck rolling, so we're not wasting any time. We're just going to continue to develop that platform out to keep getting more of that capability. Yeah, we've been in the business for 10 years. We're dedicated to cannabis. We started as Harvest Air around our patented system. And we've adapted to this industry, and we have not left, right? We've seen plenty come and go. Yeah. There's reasons why it may make sense to leave, but we are dedicated to the industry. We're finding a lot of success with the Climate as a Service. Again, 10 years in the business, we've seen a lot, we've done a lot. We're still here, and we're still innovating and still doing it for our clients. We jumped into this industry thinking it would be very much like the very structured commercial construction world we're from, where you have experienced equipment providers, experienced designers, experienced contractors, to where that division of labor makes a lot of sense. We found out really quick in the cannabis industry that the procurement was not going to happen that way. And being that everybody on our team are professional engineers and we've all designed and built facilities for our entire career, providing more of those services to remove friction from the sale was really why we did that. And you can't remain Harvest Air if you're really trying to do an integrated approach.
Very good. Hey, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you very much.